Hello everyone, this is Naresh from Edureka, and I will be taking this session today. So let me give a brief introduction about myself. So I have been working on iOS applications for past few years. I have many applications built by myself and for many clients. So for this iOS application development, so I will be taking care of complete the codes, and you will be learning a lot of things about iOS. So this iOS course will be useful for guys who are new to this iOS and who are also have some knowledge about iOS, and if you wanted to gain more knowledge, so this course will be definitely helpful for you guys. So the main objectives of this webinar would be I will make you guys understand about what is iOS development and why you should go for it, and we'll have a small use case where you will be taking photographs and save it to iPhones and show it on maps. I guess most of you guys use smartphones, might it be an Android or an iPhone, it doesn't matter. But a smartphone, if you have a knowledge, so it will be very easy for you guys to understand what are all the features you have, what you can do, and what not you cannot do, and all those things. So now, why iOS? You have various mobile OS platforms like Windows, Android, but why only iOS? Means, so there is specific reason why iOS is in top of all these OSs. So this depends upon the market. So if you see it in Indian market, Android will be in first place, but if you see in developed countries market, iPhone will be in top place. So either you go to Europe countries or Australia or US countries, so anywhere this iOS will be in top when compared to Androids and Windows. So what is the reason why you should select iOS development? So the first thing is it is the most advanced mobile operating system. So whenever you compare it with Android and Windows, Windows is far behind. You don't need to compare it with Android or iOS at all. But if you compare it with Android, so Google is also introducing a lot of latest features, and Apple is also introducing a lot of latest features. So when you compare both of these, so since Apple's hardware is very high level when compared to most of the devices on Android, so this iOS is most advanced mobile operating system right now. So you don't know, after 1 year Android might go up. So what makes this advanced means the hardware and the features the device hardware consists of. So you have Touch ID, that is nothing but a fingerprint scanner, which is not yet present in actual Google devices. You have it in Samsung Galaxy, but which is not up to the mark like iOS or iPhone. And you have the IDE, the OS, whatever you have, so these are very revolutionary. So coming to the next point, why iOS development? The main thing which you use, the frameworks which you use to develop is known as foundation framework on iOS. So this foundation framework will enable lot of features that are present in the OS or the hardware to be able to use inside your application. So you can use OS X kernels, you can use the file systems or the sandboxing or the sockets for networking, whatnot. You can use all the hardware using this framework. Okay, I have various questions, so let me answer them first before going to the next slide. So Amar asks me, do I need to have knowledge in Java before learning iOS? So I don't say that you need to be good at Java. So what is a prerequisite means you need to have OOPS concepts. A basic programming language concepts is enough. So if you know C or C++, that is fine. If you know Java, that is fine. If you know .NET, that is also fine, because all the programming languages will have only the OOPS concepts as the basics. object-oriented programming, since Objective-C or Swift, both are object-oriented. So if you know the concepts, we'll be learning the syntax and the language features and all those things. So did I answer your question, Amar? Okay, that's good. So if you guys have any questions, please ask me in the questions tab, which you will find it in the GoToWebinar, so that I will be able to see that and answer your questions. Okay, I have another question from Rahul. So is Mac a prerequisite for running Xcode? So I don't say Mac is a prerequisite, but Mac OS X is a prerequisite. So Mac is just like a laptop, but Mac OS X is the OS which you run. So Xcode runs only on Mac OS X. So you don't need to have a Mac. You can also manage with Windows PC. So Edureka support guys will be helping you in how to install Mac OS X on your Windows laptops. I guess this will be the question for most of you guys. So you can also install Mac OS X on your Windows. So support guys will be able to help you with that. So I have another question from Nitin. So iOS development course will be concentrated on Objective-C or Swift. So mainly we'll be concentrating on Objective-C, but we'll give you introduction about Swift. So we are not concentrating on Swift because Swift is not yet stable. So still it is in 1.2 version, and it is not very stable, that if you write some code in Swift, Apple might find something more efficient, and you have to change all your code at once. So that is the reason we are not concentrating on Swift right now, and Objective-C will be the concentrating language right now. But the SDK will be the same thing except syntax. That's all. There's not much difference between Objective-C and Swift other than syntax. I guess I have answered you, Nitin. Okay, so Jigyas, we didn't discuss much in the first 3 slides. I gave just introduction about myself, and we have seen why we are going for an iOS development. So that's all. So you can always go through the slides. We'll be sharing you the complete webinar with you. Okay, I have many questions about the OS X version and all those things. So let me tell you about all the prerequisites what you need after completion of this session. So let me go to the next slide now. So why do we need iOS development? Is the second thing is the Cocoa Touch. So Cocoa Touch is nothing but the top level UI, whatever you will be able to see on your screen. The buttons, the views, the labels, the text, the images, and all those things, and the touch events and all those things, those are the things which you will be able to see on your screen. So the transitions, graphics, gestures, and all those things will come under this Cocoa Touch framework. And so this framework is most advanced, and you don't need to do much things to achieve cool effects and all those things. So coming to the most important point, graphics. So which you cannot achieve in most of the other OS like Android. So if you see Android, whatever the application you develop, that will be mostly deployed on low-end phones, which will not render graphics perfectly. So only some devices which cost you more than 30,000 bucks will be rendered perfectly, and all the devices will have the slow rendering of graphics and all those things. But this is not the case with iOS, because you will have very standard iOS devices, and all the high-level frameworks and animations, you can achieve them very easily, and you will not lose your user experience at all. It's a very interesting topic and a very important point where iOS will be ahead of Android. So now, I guess most of you guys, you are completely combined. So most of you might be students, might be developers, might be managers, or might be working professionals. You might come from computer science background, or you might not come from computer science background. So there are various kinds of you guys. So we have made this course in such a way that it will be understandable by any of you. So whoever can understand a programming language, all of you can understand this course and you can start developing on your iOS devices. So if you hold an iOS device, you can directly start coding and see the result on your applications directly. So here I have a question from Veernath. Is it good to learn for a non-computer science background? So let me tell you a simple answer. I'm not from computer science background, but I am good at iOS development. So even if you just know C or C++, that's very good enough to cope up with the iOS development and Objective-C language or Swift language. Only thing you need to have is, if you are able to understand a simple programming language, a functional or a procedural or an object-oriented language, whatever it might be. So it will be easy for you guys to learn this iOS development completely. So you don't need to worry about if you are from computer science background or if you're a non-computer science background, it doesn't matter at all. So there is no restriction on who should learn this iOS development. And the most important thing, you need to have interest or passion to develop applications, because you can reach many users through these iOS applications. Okay, do you guys have any questions? So I have got some questions regarding the requirements of the hardware and the software requirements, which I will be telling you at the end of this session. So other than that, do you guys have any other questions? Okay. So what is the use of developing an app? I have a question from Jigyas. So that depends, Jigyas. Okay. I have various questions. So let me answer you, Jigyas, first. So if you are an independent developer, you can reach out to various users personally. So users these days, everyone uses a smartphone, and these smartphones have very various and wide capabilities, like the GPS, might it be the fitness or the health and all this data. So you can convert all of your ideas into applications and reach out to many users, or you can increase your name, or if you wanted to develop an application, if you have a very good idea, you can develop it directly and sell it to any custom business. So if you have a Flipkart example, so if the Flipkart is looking for any application that is available to user for managing its delivery process, so you can always build an application and sell it out. So might not be Flipkart, you have very other e-commerce sites, so you can always do those things. So I have another question from Devendra, like which graphics is better, Android or iOS for smartphone? That depends, Devendra, like what is the hardware you are running on. So if you see Nexus 6 or Nexus 5, it doesn't matter what graphics you are rendering on. But if you are looking at Moto G or Moto E, so the graphics will not be good, because the hardware will not support most of it. So that depends on what device you are running on what is the OS you are running on. So if you see for iPhone, the iPhone from Forest can support very good graphics in them. Okay guys, so I guess we are moving out of topic here. So let me answer generic questions at the end of the session. But if you have any questions related to that slide or related to the technology, whatever we are talking about, so I will be answering your questions right away. Okay. Now, so how to get started with the iOS development? So this iOS development, so you have a very good job opportunities. So only thing you need to do is so install a Mac OS X. If you have Mac, you don't need to install Mac OS X, or if you have Windows, you need to install Mac OS X on that. And then only you need to install is a single IDE called Xcode. So Xcode is the integrated development environment, just like Eclipse or Turbo C, what you use for C, Eclipse for Java, or NetBeans for Java. So this is the single IDE you have. You don't have any other IDE. So these days, Windows and Windows and Facebook are coming up with compilers which can compile Objective-C code, but they are not out yet. Till date, the Xcode is the only IDE that is used for compiling all your code, Objective-C or Swift. So to start this iOS development, what you need is a new language called Objective-C or Swift. So as I have already said, Swift is not yet stable. So once it is stable, you can start developing on Swift. So that is my opinion. So but if you wanted to learn Swift right away, so you can always go ahead with Swift. It is almost you'll have almost the same features or the design patterns and all those things in Swift and Objective-C. So learning Objective-C is very well like learning Swift. So what frameworks you should be concentrating for this iOS SDK means, so as I have said, the foundation framework, which will deal with the basics like strings, integers, data types, and all those things. And UIKit frameworks, which will deal with the most of the UI elements. So UIKit is nothing but user interface kit. So the buttons, the views, the labels, the images, sliders, animations, and all those things. So mostly you will be doing it using UIKit. So you have many other frameworks like Core Animation, Core Graphics, Core Data, and all those things. So Core Data is a framework which you will be using it for local storage. So these are the important frameworks which you have to learn to get into an iOS development. So which we will be also covering all these frameworks in our course. And the most important thing is design patterns. Without design patterns, you cannot build a very good applications or an easy going application. So the major design patterns we use in this iOS development are model view controller. It is nothing but the MVC pattern which you will be using in lot of places. So everywhere you use any programming language, the basic design pattern you use is an MVC pattern. So the same pattern is the basis of our iOS development. We'll be using the same thing all over our course. So whatever the application you are going to develop, you will be using model view controller. And you have something others like delegate pattern. So delegate pattern is another kind of design pattern which you will be using for communication between objects. Target action patterns. So how do you communicate between the UI and your code, your implementation file and the view file? So this is using target action patterns. So these patterns, and you have many other patterns like singleton pattern or model view model pattern. So you have a lot of patterns. So all these design patterns are general to all the languages. Only thing is how do you implement is different. That's all. Okay, am I audible to you guys? Okay, I have a question from Jigyas. Do we need to learn these frameworks? I would say yes. So these are the frameworks that are basis. So from the day one, you will be learning completely from this foundation framework and UIKit framework. So you are not going to learn them separately, but completely in a synchronous manner. So you will be learning all of them. Okay. So then let us move to the next slide. Okay. Here I'll show you how to start with a general iOS application. So till now we have seen what is the introduction and all. So don't mind if you are not able to understand a code, because we are not going into the depth of the codes. So I will be just giving you a synopsis like kind of thing. So how to write, so how, what all you can achieve whenever you write small lines of code in your application. So these things will be seeing it. So don't worry if you are not able to understand it. Dibyendu, I see questions from you. So I see a lot of generic questions, Dibyendu, from you. So let me answer them at the end of the session. Okay. So let us take a uh, use case or a scenario. Why do you need to develop an application? So these days, the world has gone more personal. So you have got Apple Watch also. Even the watch you are wearing is going to be a digital one in within few years. So no one has expected that you will be uh, taking a mini computer with you guys. So now the technology has changed and the wearable tech has come into picture. So in this kind of environment and with the most developed technology, so what you can do is you have to store your memories. So writing diaries and taking pictures using a real camera and getting the pictures has gone. So nowadays you have smartphones with you guys. You can always remember everything on your smartphone. So you can take pictures, you can take notes, you can uh, save everything for your reminders. So for that reason, let's say if you are an excursionist or globetrotter, then you might be wanted to save all your memories in your application. So what you can do is, so whenever you visit any place, so you can directly take a picture at that. So you're going to make an application in which you can take a picture or a snapshot at that location, then save them to your album. And if you wanted to see what are all the places you have covered, you can always go up to the map and then show all the places which you have visited along with the photographs if you want. And if you wanted to share it with your friends, you can directly share it with a click. So that is the use case we have. Now, so how to achieve this or how to create this application? Now, so the first thing is taking a picture at any tourist spot. So the next slides, you will be having it how to create a new Xcode application and all those things. So don't worry about this. I will be showing you these things live. Okay. So I have my Xcode installed. So now let me, what you do is whenever you open your Xcode, it will prompt you to create a project or open a new project. So I have already a project open. So I'm going to tell you how to create a new project. So always you have to go to File, New, and say Project. So whenever you say that, it will ask you what kind of application are you going to develop. So is it a, there are many kinds of applications, but you are going to develop a single view application. That is nothing but your application will have a single view on which you are going to build up and have various screens inside your application. So if you wanted to create a game, you can always select the game template and start using SpriteKit framework, and you can always create games like Angry Birds or uh, many games, whatever you have seen, Temple Run and all those things. So let me select a single view application, and if I click next, it will ask you about the product name, organization, and all those things. So just name it, and so you will be asking what kind of language you want to developing. So Objective-C or Swift. So you can always go for Swift or Objective-C, but right now we are going it for Objective-C. And what devices you wanted to develop, iPhone or iPad. So let me select an iPhone right now and click on next. And it will ask you for a place where to save it, and then click create. You will get all the files. So in Objective-C, mainly you will have, so this Objective-C, if you see, we will always follow model view controller design pattern. So the model is nothing but your main.storyboard, sorry, that is your view. Main.storyboard is nothing but your view. So all the views, whatever you create, that will be done inside your interface builder. So this is called as an interface builder. So if you wanted to create a screen, you can directly go here and select various things right away from your object palette. So at the bottom right, you'll have object palette, and from this you can automatically drag and drop all your elements. So let's say the label. So whatever I am using right now, it is Xcode IDE, and you can design your interface directly using interface builder. So this storyboard will be opening in an interface builder file. So in that you can always drag and drop whatever you want. So you can drag a label, you can drag a button or anything. So I guess I have answered your question, Jigyas. So in the similar way, you can you will have all the navigation bars, tab bars. You will be understanding more about it whenever you start developing these applications. So if you see your general smartphone screens, the buttons, the labels, the tab bars, and all the other things will be mostly similar. So let me drag and drop a tab bar. So this is the tab bar we have. So whenever I drag and drop, so you will get it directly like this. And on this, you can have items. So how you are going to run it is nothing but just select the simulator and the target. It will be right away whatever the application name you will create. So just select the simulator and click on this play button. So whenever you click on that, whatever you have designed, that will be coming directly onto your screen. Okay, so if you see right now, I have an iPhone 5s simulator. So you have various device simulators present inside your Xcode. So since we have a put and label, button, and a tab bar, so that is what you have. So if I change it, you can always place it in the middle, save it, and run it. Got it. So this is your first application, Hello World or Hello Educa. So this is a way you develop any applications. The simple applications, you are directly going to drag and drop, assign each of them to various methods, and then run it. That's all. So I have a question from Anand: how to build and deploy this app to any iPhone device? So to do this on device, so Apple has something called code signing. So you need to be a paid Apple developer to do that. So there is a process which we'll be discussing more in our course. I don't think the time will be enough for us to discuss it right away. So there is a process, and you can directly run it on your device through code signing. Okay, so I guess let me answer your question, Devendra. So the question is, so I said we'll be following MVC architecture, but where do you see MVC architecture? So MVC is nothing but model, view, and controller. So in Objective-C, so view and controller, the view is nothing but your storyboard file or the interface builder file. So whatever we have written here, the button, the label, Edureka, and all these things. So these things are present on a UI view. So this UI view is nothing but a view object, and the classes, whatever you write, .h files and .m files, you call them as interface files and implementation files. So these files will act as controllers. So whatever you wanted to show it on screen, that is nothing but your view, should be shown using these implementation files. So that is nothing but .h and .m files. Okay, I have a question from Anand. So can you explain the key files in iOS application? Yes, so that is what I'm going to do next. So in Objective-C, you'll have 3 files. So one is an, so for any code or object or a class, you'll have 2 files. One is .h file and the another is an .m file. So .h file is nothing but an interface file where you are going to define all the classes or methods or the properties or variables. So you are going to define them in the interface files, and the implementation of them will be written inside your .m files. That is nothing but implementation files. So this is a single object. So if you use this object for storing data, then it is called a model object. If you are using this object for controlling data on your view, then this is nothing but a controller. And so whatever the view you are going to show it on the screen is nothing but inside your storyboard files. So in the storyboard files, you are going to design your UI directly. You don't need to code anything for designing. And after you design it, just running it will show it the same design on your iPhone. So you don't need to do much for designing your screens. So these are the most important files which you need to know. So you have something called appdelegate.h and .m. I don't think you need to know about it right away. So this is the main file which will be acting on behalf of your application. And one more thing what I wanted to tell you is Objective-C is completely a superset of C. That means C and C++. That means whatever you can implement in C or C++, you can also implement in Objective-C. Okay, coming back to our application. So to save time, I have already created an application, and let me open that for you guys. Okay. So this is the application we have created. So this one will have an image view to show the image. So what you have to do is you have to capture an image and show it to the user on your screen. So for that, you need an image view that holds an image. You cannot directly put an image, but you need an image view that holds an image. So you can set image to this view dynamically, and you need a button to select from which you have to take the image. So this button, I have mapped it to a method in your object files. So that is nothing but viewController.h and viewController.m files. So let me show you the code for that. This is .h file. So in this, we are going to create variables using properties. The properties are nothing but the variables. Okay. So for every UI element you design on your screen or in your storyboard, you have to map them to your property files, or sorry, to your interface or implementation files. So here is the way we use target action patterns. So if you click on a button, that should execute a method. So target is your class, and action is what you are doing. You are clicking or you are making some gesture kind of things. So here I have mapped our button, capture button, to a method called capture button clicked. So whenever the user clicks on that button, this method will be executed. So since this is an interface file, you have only the declarations, and all the implementations will be written inside your implementation files. So the file which we have is capture button clicked. So now whenever user clicks on this capture button, okay, let us go back to the PDF. Okay, so all the buttons and the image views, whatever you have, you are going to map them to the objects or the classes to execute some code. So after that, you are going to write some code for those things. So now, whenever user clicks on a capture button, so in your iOS device, you have two options. So if you wanted to give two options, you have something called action sheet or alert. So right now we are going to use action sheet. So you are going to ask user from which you have to select. Should you select the image from gallery or should you select it from camera? So if you don't want to show that option, you can directly run some methods which I will show you. So but here we wanted to ask user what he want to do. Should he select from an camera or should he select from image library? So for that we have something called action sheet. So action sheet is nothing but an alert which comes from the bottom and gives user two or more options. So that options how you can create is you can just initialize that. So init with title. So what title you wanted to give with the delegate. So delegate pattern is nothing but which acts on behalf of other objects. So whenever user takes a picture, that will be given back to your delegate object. That is nothing but right now your present object. So what should be the cancel if user wants to cancel the selection, and what are all the buttons you wanted to show, camera and image library. And if you say show in view, that view will be shown. And right now I'll show you how it will look like. So the same thing I have written inside the code, inside your capture button clicked. So you have the select image title, you have cancel. So here is our view. I have the capture button. Whenever I click on this capture button, it will show me this pop-up. Select image. Should I select it from camera or should I select it from image library? So these are the options we are giving it to user. Okay, you guys have any questions? Okay, so I guess the coding, the syntax and all, you guys are completely different to this. So don't worry about it. So I'm going to just tell you what all you can do. That's all. Okay, so whenever user selects anything, so you will get a call to some other method that is nothing but your delegate method. So you will see more about delegate patterns in our actual course. So right now what you have to think of is, so whenever a user does some action, this method gets called with the specific reply. So if I click on cancel in my simulator, so camera is my first button and image library is my second button. So if my button index, that is nothing but the place where that button is present, that is nothing but camera. So if I get that button, I'm going to select it from camera. If I get a photo library, I'm going to select it from photo library. So I have a question from Rahul. What is an IB action? IB action means, so it is a linkage from your view to object. So interface builder action. And for any properties or button linkups or label linkups, you'll have it as IB outlets. That is nothing but a link to your interface builder. So how do you select? Okay, Coming back to the code, so whenever you user selects the camera option, so you have to show up camera. So you are going to call the camera button. So inside this, there is an object called UI image picker controller. So this object will automatically give you the image directly if you just write 2 lines of code. So it is nothing but you have to allocate it. That means nothing but create an object out of its class, then set what kind of source type you want. So you want a camera, and what type of media you want. Do you want an image? Do you want a JPEG? Do you want a video? Do you want a panorama? And all those things. So right now we want only image, and other settings like do you want to edit that image and all those things. So whenever user selects from camera, you are going to execute this. So right now on simulator you don't have a camera available, so that's why we will show up a alert called so camera is not available on this. So if you are running on a device, this will obviously work. So that is the reason. So if source type a camera is not available on your device, then show an alert. So this alert is nothing but alerting user with some warnings. So since camera is not possible, we'll look for photo library. So whenever user clicks on photo library, again you are going to create a picker. This will pick up an image and send it back to your code. So here the main difference between the camera and the picker is nothing but the source type. So the source type will be photo library, and for camera it will be camera. So since the source type is photo library, let us go back and see what you can do. Capture. Let me select image library. So whenever you select this image library, so I have some images present in moments and camera rolls. Let me go to camera roll. I have 5 images. Let me select. So whenever you select, it is asking you to edit. So since you have given a property called allows editing as yes, so it is asking you to edit. So whenever you do this thing and choose, so this is the same image whatever you have chosen. Let me do that again. So I'm clicking on capture. I'm selecting image library. From that it will ask, it will show you what are all the images that are present on your device, camera roll. And from this, so let me select this one. So if I select the complete picture without editing it, choose. So this image has been distorted because the size and the aspect ratio is not good. So you have to manage all these things, which is very simple. Don't worry about that. So this is the way you are going to get images. After getting images, okay, you have any questions in this slide or in this code? Okay, this is what we have seen. So whenever user clicks on a button, you are giving an option to the user, and depending upon the option user selects, you are going to select it from camera or photo library, and then show the camera or show an photo library. So what about a description? That's a nice question, Jigyas. So since we have a very limited time, we did not have it completely on this, but you can always ask user to enter text in your screen. So let me show you quickly how to show or get text. So on your device, so let me show you on a different screen. So if this is a screen and you have something called text field, so this is the text field, you can directly drag it and drop it. So this is the text field you have. So if you wanted to show this as a first screen, so you have to enable something called ease initial view controller and run it. So whenever you do this, you will get an text field, and when you click on that, you will get a text field. So using these things, you can always take the text input. So once after you are done with selecting the image, you can take the description out of this. Okay, we are not going to do the complete stuff right away. Okay, I have another question from Devendra. While selecting image from gallery, is there any condition come to the picture like size or format or else? Yes, you can give it. So if you, the image whatever you have on your device might be of various formats. So you cannot select any image or from the gallery depending upon size, but you can restrict the formats of the images. So if you want an JPEG file, you can always set the source in your view controller, that is while selecting. So here you have this KUT type image. So this image type will consist all the images, but you also have something like JPEG, JPEG 2000 or TIFF or GIF or PNG. So if you give only these things, so you will be able to select only these files, these formats. Okay, the basic question from Rahul. So what is the square brackets? So that is nothing but a function call. So in Objective-C, the function call is made using this inside these square brackets. Okay, now going back to our use case. So whenever the user selects a picture, that picture is given to your code inside a method that is nothing but a delegate method. So did finish picking image. So once this is done, so you will get that image directly in the format of UI image. So this UI image is nothing but a data type for holding an image. So once you get this image, you can directly set it to your image view. So this is the outlet we have created for that image view, and you can set that image directly. So if user clicks on cancel, just dismiss that. That's all. So this will be the complete overall flow for our use case. So when a user clicks on the capture, you will be showing a screen to select it from camera or image library, or when a user clicks on image library, it will go to the image selection. From that image selection, you will get to the pictures. From that, you can edit them and show it on screen. So this is the basic flow. So if you wanted to save it in photo library, you can do it in one line of code. So in our previous code where you are saving it or showing it on screen, so you have a single method called UI image write to saved photos album. If you just send that image, it will automatically write it to your photos album. And showing locations, so it's just a simple map view. So how you can do that is, so you will have a map view in your application. Inside your interface builder, inside your storyboard, instead of a, you'll have map view, you can directly drag it and drop it. So whenever you drag it and drop it, you will get a map view, and using some small code settings, you can always show the location. So the location, you will be getting it using the core location framework or the GPS which you have. So you have to create that, and whenever you say start updating location, so that will return you a location in the delegate method. Again, this is the delegate pattern. You will get latitude and longitude, and you can always save it for the further use and show it on map by just clicking using these 2 or 3 lines of code, mapview.userlocation.coordinate.latitude. So you are just setting the latitude and just setting the longitude. Once you set this latitude and longitude, it will automatically show that position on your screen. The next thing is sharing it on social media. So for this social media, you don't need to do much in your code. So everything is inbuilt. So if you wanted to share it on Twitter or Facebook or Sina Weibo is the social networking site in China. So you have these things present inside your social framework directly. So what you need to do is create an object for SL Compose View Controller and give it a type. Should you post it to Facebook or Twitter? And then give a completion handler. What you have to do after user clicks on the select or cancel or post or something. So depending upon that, you will get a result. And so this is the blocks. So you will be learning more about blocks in your actual sessions. And what you need to do is just say present view controller and your FB controller. So this will show your Facebook controller on your screen and you can directly post it. So you can set some text and you can set the image to this controller. So this will automatically post it to your Facebook or Twitter. So did you guys understand this? Do you have any questions? Answer from Devendra? No, that's good. Okay, now let's go ahead. So why do you need to go for this iOS? So I said that it is a booming technology in jobs. So what are the job trends? Means the App Store has 850,000 applications and it has 45 billion downloads in less than 5 years. So the customers, there are more than 10 million customers worldwide, and you can reach directly to them through your ideas. And so coming to jobs, you have a very big number of jobs. So right now we are concentrating only on UIs, and in Indeed.com, which is a jobs aggregator, you can find 6,000 iOS developer jobs. So there is no need for you guys to struggle to get a job. If you are an iOS developer, you will directly are hired. And if you want more inspiration, Apple has paid $9 billion from App Store. So from the sales, Apple has paid $9 billion. So that is a job trend we have. And so let me tell you this, right now we have an 30% discount that is going on for iOS development course. So if you wanted to avail this offer, please directly contact our sales team or call the members in our Edureka website. So you can always get this 30% off on your development course, which will help you a lot. Okay, and so before answering your generic questions, let me tell you the course contents. So we'll be mostly discussing most of the important frameworks which we use in our application development from module 1 to module 10. So after this module 10, so we'll be concentrating more on Swift. So we'll be giving an introduction to Swift, and then we'll deep dive into Swift, how you can use this Swift and all. Any more questions, please? Okay. So now let me come back to your questions. So I have a question from Siraj. So is it a complete online course or you have any training centers? So this is completely an online course. We don't have any training centers here. Okay. So can you make money out of iOS development? That's a nice question, Jigyas. Yes, you can obviously make money out of iOS development. So whatever the applications you develop, so you can put them on App Store, and you will get a revenue in the share of 70-30. So 70 will be given to you and 30 will be given to will be taken by Apple. So it's a 70-30 sharing. And if so all the prices will be in dollars, and let's say if you the minimum price is a 0.99 cents, that is nothing but approximately $1. If you have 100 downloads, it means that you have earned $70 in your pocket. So please don't consider your tax in this. So you will be earning $70 if you can get 100 downloads of your paid application. So think of it. If you have a very good application with a very nice UX, you will get more downloads and you will get more money. Okay, so the soft copy of the slides and the video recordings of the slides will be mailing it to you guys, so don't worry about that. So if you didn't get it, please contact Edureka support. They will be helping you in getting these slides and the recording. Okay, I have one more question from Dibyendu. So is knowing Java mandatory for iOS? No, not at all. So if you have a knowledge in a single language, either might it be a C or C++ or Java or .NET, any language, might it be procedural or functional or a object oriented, so that's enough for you guys to learn this iOS object and Objective-C. So you'll be learning all the syntaxes and all the requirements of this Objective-C in your course itself. So as I have said, we'll be taking Swift classes at the end of the modules. So the module 11 and module 12 will be more concentrated on Swift. So Thomas, you don't need to worry about Swift. So since it is not more stable yet, so we will be giving you introductions and you have to be updated with Apple for all the changes what Apple makes. So if you learn a concept how to define an array, and tomorrow Apple might change its syntax, so you have to be updated with the Swift language. So I have another question. So what is the package file extension or for iOS application from Anand? So Anand, in iOS we call it as an IPA file, iPhone archive. So this is the package file extension .ipa. So I have a question from Amar. If the application you develop is a free application, okay, for any free application you will not get any revenue, but there are ways to get revenue. You can always implement iAds, that means show ads inside your application which generates revenue, or offer in-app purchases, like give your app for free and then ask user to pay if they wanted to use more advanced features. Only enable those features if they are a paid user. So in that way you can always generate revenue from your applications. So for free applications, Apple is not going to pay you. But you can generate in these ways, like implementing ads, iAds, and in-app purchases. Okay, what if the app is free? I have many questions. Nice question. Okay, so I have another question from Dibyendu. Can we link big data to iOS? So for any link up with your database or big data or anything, so what you need is a web service. So you have to write web services for your big data, and you have to access the data that is present on it using this web services. You can always integrate your networking using HTTP or REST or any other protocols. So you can always use REST API to communicate it with your server, and indirectly your server will be communicating with your big data. So I guess I have answered your question, Dibyendu, or you are pointing to some other thing. Okay. So do you guys have any other questions? Okay then. So that's all guys for today. So if you're interested, there is a WWDC session going on that will be starting at 10 o'clock, I guess. So in this session, Apple will be releasing the latest OS. I guess iOS 9 will be released today, and with the latest hardware lineup. So if you guys are interested, you can always watch WWDC live, or you can get to know what are the updates from that session, and you can be updated on iOS. So that will be helpful in your future when you are going to design applications or develop iOS applications. Thank you guys. Thank you very much. So I hope to see you all you guys in the course. So we will be mailing you the slides and the recordings. So if you, by chance, if you guys did not get any of it, please contact support. They will be helping you in getting these things. Thank you guys.